Hey, this is Matt once again. Welcome back to another video. This is another paid request. This time for Kyle. Thank you so much for that. And for those interested in requesting any type of videos, feel free to send it either directly to my PayPal or join my Patreon. Both things are down below in the info box. And this is for the Muppet. The hell is the Muppet? The Muppet Classic Theater. Now, I never heard of this before. Now, I didn't grow up with the Muppets like other people did. I knew of them. I might have seen one or two movies back in the day. Maybe the Muppets Take Manhattan might have been a film I saw as a kid. But I've seen a couple other films throughout the years, and for the most part, don't mind for what they are. Wasn't big on the Muppets, the newer one. Remember not minding the Christmas one with mainly because of Michael Caine. But this is, I guess, the first direct-to-video movie that had the Muppets in it. And this was charming enough, especially if you have little kids or if you're a fan of the Muppets in general and those characters. It's 6 stories based on various types of fairy tales. And because it's direct-to-video, it definitely has a cheap look to it. But they do set up that it's like the Muppets are doing a play. So at least they gave a bit of a, not a wraparound, but a structure as to why everything looks cheap. Is, oh yeah, they're doing a play. So like Gonzo and Rizzo, they're kind of talking to the audience, but then they got to get ready for the show. They got to change clothes. So at least that explains why everything looks cheap, because it is a set for a stage play. But I'm just saying, compared to other movies like The Muppet Christmas Carol, which had a whole, the city. Same with, again, Muppets Take Manhattan. If you're expecting a bit more of a slicker look, if you're expecting production value, you're not going to get that with this. But at the same time, because it's 6 stories and it's only like an hour, and with trailers at the beginning, it was like an hour and 8 minutes or hour and 13 minutes or so. Because each story is about 10 minutes long, give or take. So at least it went by at a decent enough pace. You have the Three Little Pigs, Teen Midas, the Boy-Croyd Wolf, Rumpelstiltskin, the Emperor's New Clothes, and Elves. I forget what was the Elves and the Shoemaker. Those are the 6 stories. Gonzo and Rizzo, the rat, they're introducing them, which is fine because I like Gonzo. Did I say Gizmo? I meant Gonzo. I like Gonzo. I would say he's probably my favorite Muppet. I just like the voice they choose for him. I liked his look. It's very unique. I think you find out in a movie that he is an alien. But of the stories, the Three Little Pigs, of course, you have the three. One of them is Miss Piggy, who is much smarter than her 2 brothers. And sometimes there's some fun humor and charm to these stories. Like when they're narrating Gonzo and Rizzo and the Three Little Pigs, and one of them goes, "You call that little?" And Miss Piggy goes, "I heard that." And like the story, one made their house out of straw, one made their house out of sticks, and one made their house out of bricks. Of course, Miss Piggy is the one that made it out of bricks. The other two get their houses blown down. They beg to get in. Fine, fine. They apologize. Yes, you're the best. The wolf, I didn't mind the design of the wolf. I didn't mind the voice they had. It's funny how Miss Piggy realizes that he's trying to go through the chimney and shoots a missile. Not up his ass, but that'd be a different movie. But shoots in, missile grabs him, goes all the way up. And like I said, they're so short. They don't overstay their welcome for the most part to be that annoying or irritating. So I think that helps with the pacing of this. That even if it's not your favorite, you get some turns of the puppetry and the voice work of Kermit and Gonzo and other stuff. I would say for the most part, Kermit and Miss Piggy got the most screen time. Then Gonzo. Fozzie got one story, which is a shame. Because I'd probably say he's my second favorite if I have to pick. I'd probably say Gonzo, Fozzie, then Kermit. But you don't have a whole lot of the other characters. You don't have, I forget their names, but like the band, none of the band, like Animal and them, they're not featured in here. What was that one that's like a, again, this shows how little I grew up with the Muppets. I can't remember all their names. The one that's like the piano player, and there's one that looks like a dog, and the Swedish chef. There's a lot of them missing from this. So, some of your favorites, especially if they were backgrounds, they may not be featured in this. Again, maybe because it's first direct-to-video, so they didn't have nearly as much of a budget, so they couldn't use nearly as many characters as other movies. Just like I said, Three Little Pigs is Miss Piggy, a wolf, and two other pigs. Teen Midas is Piggy, Kermit, Gonzo, maybe some like background puppets. Boy Who Cried Wolf is Gonzo, Kermit, some sheep, and the wolf from the first story, playing a different wolf. Rumpelstiltskin is Miss Piggy and Gonzo and Kermit and some background puppets. Emperor's New Clothes, Fozzie, that's like the only one he has any prevalence in, and Rizzo and the Rats. And then the one with the elves, the Shoemaker, it's Kermit, his kid, I guess, I forget what the kid's name was, and these elves, but they're more like Elvis, because of the name, you know. So that's what I mean, like, a lot of the other supporting characters you don't really get to see, so you may be disappointed with that. And another thing I didn't like was each one has to have a song in it. I did not like any of the songs. I kind of wish the stories did not have the songs because, like I said, I just didn't think they were catchy. I didn't think they were interesting to listen to. I thought like some of the songs in the Christmas one, the one with a Muppet Christmas Carol, some of them were catchy. Here comes Mr. Humbug, here comes Mr. Grinch. Yeah, some of them were catchy enough. Others, not so much for me personally. Here, whether it be Show Some Respect, which I thought was going to be a take on R-E-S-P-E-C-T, Aretha Franklin. It wasn't. This is a different one. So that one, like I said, just, especially the song for, I think it's Rumpelstiltskin. That one seems like it goes on forever because they try to guess his name. Did I guess that name? Guess that name. Did I guess it? Guess it? Guess that name. Did I guess it? Guess it? I was sitting there going, yeah, I did it. Can you cut this song in half? But anyway, Three Little Pigs, it was fun enough because of, I like the work of the wolf puppet, the voice they use for it. I don't mind Miss Piggy. I wouldn't say she's a favorite of mine. But I guess if you're a dire Miss Piggy fan, you'll definitely get a chunk of her in this one. Teen Midas, Kermit finds Gonzo, who this is playing a satyr, half man, half goat. He's going to put him to death because he's lying on roses. He's like, wait a minute, you don't put me to death for that? Okay, that's a bit extreme. How about this? I'll give you a wish. Miss Piggy wants the golden touch. Kermit wants peaceful kingdom. Wait, this is Miss Piggy, so Kermit gets the golden touch. And so each time he touches, turns him to gold. Now again, once in a while, there's a chunk of dialogue that I thought was kind of funny, that made it charming enough to watch this. Not just the puppetry, not just the voice work, but for example, they're like, "Where's that ripple effect? Come on, where's the special effect?" Because the touch of the gold and the ripple effect, like that was kind of funny the way they have that dialogue show up. Later on, like the Rumpelstiltskin story, there's a scene where they try to find out the name because it made a deal that I'll take your baby. Fine, if you know my real name, then I'll let the deal go belly up. They can't figure out the. But then, wait a minute. He said he was in the Boy Scouts or whatever, the Cub Scouts. They would write their name in their shirt. Take that, Mr. Ralph Lauren. Oh, wrong label. What's this one? I thought that was pretty funny. That made me chuckle. Even like the bad joke, for example, when Kermit gets turned into gold because he's getting frustrated, he does this as he turns himself. Miss Piggy, of course, is horrified by it. And someone makes a bad joke. Hey, what's his favorite vegetable? 24 carrots. Even though it's meant to be a bad joke, I did kind of chuckle at that. But then she goes up to Gonzo. Gonzo, okay, fine, I'll turn you back. You know what? Actually, I'll give you another wish. Kermit again wants to wish for world peace or a peaceful kingdom, but Piggy wants a slice-o-matic, which she gets. I'd be like, Kermit, you need to dump this bitch. You need to dump the pig. Dump her. Don't deal with the zero, deal with a hero. Come on now. You could do better than Miss Piggy. I always thought that. I always thought Kermit could do a lot better than Miss Piggy. Like, you have to be desperate to deal with Miss Piggy, at least to me. You do better, man. So his teammate, the third boy, cried wolf. Gonzo gets very steered easily. Oh, there's a flood. Like, the sheep keep messing with him. So he keeps going to the townsfolk and like, hey, you're just, nothing's happening, calm down. But now that there's a wolf, they won't listen to him. So it's the sheep's fault, so they should be eaten anyway. It's your fault messing with Gonzo and getting him steered and trying to help, and then they don't believe him. So, sheep, you deserve to die. There's a funny bit where they kind of in the middle say, okay, now it's happily ever after, end the story. End the story. And they're the bummed that the story's not over. We need to end it before this gratuitous violence. But they call their cousin, who's a much bigger sheep. I forget what. If he was a ram. But they call him much. Oh, and the wolf's like, oh yeah, how much bigger is he? He turns, it is a much bigger, and it just topples on him and keeps him there. And that's the thing, like, this movie is cute enough if you like the Muppets. And like I said, the stories they go by at a quick enough pace that if you watch it with your kids, you'll get some fun out of it. It's only like an hour and change of your time. I don't know if I would say this would stick with me, though. I don't know if I would say it's memorable. But again, there are a couple jokes that made me chuckle. The Rumpelstiltskin. Like, one of them is ready to say beast to hell, but they can't say hell, so beast to... Anyway, they stop themselves before that occurs. The story Rumpelstiltskin. Miss Piggy's supposed to have this straw of gold. She doesn't know how to do it. Rumpelstiltskin does it once, then also does it twice. Then makes a deal. Fine, I'll do it. If when you have a baby, I did your firstborn. She's like, what? What are you talking about? Ultimately knows it. But like I said, the songs I just felt went on a bit too long. But the Ralph Lauren joke I thought was kind of funny. The Emperor's New Clothes. Pretty much Rizzo and the Rats. They're con men. Fozzie believes in anything. Rizzo's like, well, we got this new outfit for you. Oh yeah, you can't see it, but it's only the luxurious people. They're the only ones that can see it. Fozzie decides to believe it because he's too nice of a guy. But then lo and behold, when he comes out, he's in his underwear. It's like, wait a minute, wait a minute. So they get the rats and they get in jail. That, I would say, the only positive, because it's probably my least favorite story. The only positive is seeing Fozzie finally have something to do with the story. It's sad this is the only one that Fozzie is in. He's not in the other ones. He's not used more. It's nice to see him there in the eventually. But I don't know, it's the story that left the least amount of impression with me. And it's like you might as well just watch The Emperor's New Groove, that movie with David Spade and John Goodman instead. And then the elves and the shoemaker, Kermit and his kid need help with shoes. The elves come. The big joke is that instead of elves, they're Elvis. There's a bunch of people like Elvis. They look like Elvis. They talk like Elvis. They make blue suede shoes. It depends how you feel about that joke. If you don't like the joke, you're not going to like the story. It's a one-trick joke. It's a joke that goes on for the entire bit. I thought it was humorous enough. Again, thankfully these stories don't last too long to be that much of an irritant. And of course they make the shoes, they succeed. And Kermit and his son's business be very fruitful. So as a thank you, here's some costumes, the white, what is it called, the white white sequin outfits. They're given them as gifts, and then they went on to have fun in Vegas. So there's that. So it's one of those things that it was fun enough to watch once. I don't know if I would ever see it again. Like I said, at least it went in a short amount of time. It didn't overstay its welcome. I think this is only on VHS. It is on YouTube. At least where I saw it. I don't know if it's still on YouTube. But where I saw it was on YouTube. So if you like the Muppets and you want to see anything with them, you haven't seen this, sure, give it a look. Like I said, some of your smaller supporting characters may not arrive, and that may be disappointing. But again, there's enough charm with these characters to make it at least, again, worth one-time watch. Like I said, I don't see myself ever watch it again. And like I said, it's stuck on VHS. I don't think there's ever been a DVD release of this. So it's one of those ones that fairly forgotten. And again, it's one of those things that you have a lot of this material stuck on VHS. Is that bad enough to not get a DVD release? I mean, come on. There's a lot of worse things to get a DVD. Well, nowadays, Blu-ray, whatever. I mean, you might as well. I mean, hell, the Shining miniseries and Lost in Space 1998 got a Blu-ray. I mean, I'll put this above those. But yeah, I think you got a lot of this stuff that are just trapped on VHS tape. And unless you have something like YouTube, if it wasn't for that, these things would disappear. Fall through the cracks. And I think about how much stuff would disappear without YouTube and the stuff being uploaded. Oh, you can't upload. Well, it's preservation. Without this type of preservation, which, as in to not be totally forgotten, these companies are not doing anything with this product. They're willingly letting it fall through and disappear. And that's a shame. That's an absolute shame because again, how many films are that one or two per person that doesn't think to record it, to rip the VHS tape, to put it on YouTube, and oh, maybe it's gone one day, but then they don't re-upload it. Granted, the internet, more and more so, there are other avenues to find this stuff. But I mean, that people get mad at piracy, but it's like this type of stuff. Without it, they would disappear into thin air. So, is that really a big detriment, Mr. Entertainment Industry? But anyway, I don't even love the film, but you know it was okay and it was worthwhile, and that's what I mean. It wasn't that bad, and apparently people grow with it because it get high ratings on IMDb. So there are fans of this. Hell, it's short enough. Put a Blu-ray and put like I don't know, two of them on one. Have like a bonus feature. I don't know. But anyway, with this said, thanks for watching. Take care. We'll see you guys later. Bye bye.